All right, but I think we should move on to our next Manga Plus start, and that is East into the Night by Angyaman in all capital letters. Lum, would you like to explain what the premise of this series is so far?
It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, it seems, that is completely covered by night. Like, everything is covered in a pitch-black night, and we have these characters who are kind of traversing in caves. Animals have kind of evolved in interesting ways. Like, a lot of them have become bigger, or they developed features that allow them to kind of maneuver in the dark and find sustenance. Like, very early on, you see, like, these duck-like creatures or goose-like creatures that have, like, these larger bottom bills that are meant to, like, dig through the ground to find food. And you kind of seen their eyes have kind of, like, shrunk into being nothing. You have these larger snake creatures called armacondas that attack them. These large snake-like creatures also have arms too.
Oh, yeah.
But, basically, history seems to have been completely lost, so any technology from the past is regarded as relics. And so our main characters have their own form of relics. Like, they have, like, these laser gun things. They have, like, just simple, like, electronics that make lights. Like this, like, the main character has, like, a diamond crystal that lights up, that they don't really know what it does, but it lights things up, so. And it's a very different kind of light than the light of fire. And basically, this traveler who seeks to find the end of the night, to kind of put an end to night, to bring back, like, the sunlight in the morning. He's looking for all these different relics, and he's, trying to, like, travel the world to kind of discover a way to put an end to night. This character's name is Anog, and he meets, like, Tio, who's this young girl who's been living in the cave with her adopted grandpa, who kind of discovered her as a baby with the laser gun relic as a kid, and her adopted family, and the grandpa kind of taught her a lot of skills she needed to know to kind of survive, and he's kind of bedridden, so she kind of goes out on her own, and hunting and stuff. And eventually, they get into a situation with her kind of jealous foster brother, like, going off on his own, being attacked by an armaconda, where they fight it off, and upon seeing how well she uses the relic, like, the grandfather kind of tells her to kind of leave. Like, he makes up the excuse that, because she broke the rule of never using relics, that she has to leave. But actually, Anog tapes the conversation that he actually had with him later, that really the reason is because she would be, she'd have more success, she'd be better off on her own, to find, like, freedom and, like, who she really is, like, her own family, what happened to them, and, go off on her own path in life. So, it's kind of a very moving actual reason why he told her to leave with Anog. But basically the two are going and traveling together to find the end to night, using relics and searching for relics. And so they're going through this cave on this journey to find morning. So, yeah, I think the most striking thing about this manga is, like, this first chapter, at the very least, is all in full color, and the way that they light up the panels, like, they really take into account that there's no natural light in this world, so there's a lot of attention placed onto where the light source is, and then what the color of the light source would be. In a world without natural light, you obviously wouldn't get, like, the full spectrum of colors that you normally would. So when it's, like, at the beginning and you just have Anog with his lamp, like, it's a lot of very red toned glows. Light that's coming out from the relics have, like, these very light greenish blue colors. And I really appreciate the attention to detail in the coloring and where the light source be and what things would look like if they were using just artificial light to kind of light up characters. And I thought the color work was superbly well done, and really brought a sense of atmosphere and really communicate a great idea of what this world is like. in a way that I really, really thought was striking. I also think the action scenes are also really cool, especially the fight with the Armacondas. Like, they are very imposing, intimidating monsters, and I think there are great sequences in the combat with them that communicate their ferocity and also the ferocity of the characters fighting against them. The 2-page spread where Anna cuts off the Armaconda's arms while Tio blasts through its heart with her laser gun is really cool. And in general, I thought that the story has a lot of promise. It's a very interesting concept for this world. And it has a pretty good initial emotional hook to it about Tio being given a send out by her adopted grandfather to kind of go searching for who she really is. I don't think Anog himself is that interesting yet, but he's a fine enough protagonist for Tio to bounce off of. So I think the two together could develop in as in characters in interesting ways as they go on this journey. But really, it's more about the world and what happened to make this world of eternal darkness. Will they be able to find morning? What will that entail? How do they bring back morning in this world without light? How do they bring back the light? That's an interesting question. So it's got a really good hook to it, and it's a story I'm definitely curious to read more of and see where it goes.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. I'm hoping that the series is all actual full color, because I think the way that color is used in the series in a world where you don't have any real natural light, I think is a good way to kind of go about to depict that visually. I think this kind of thing would be kind of hard to depict in black and white.
Yeah, I think you really get a full sense of what this world is like if you have color to kind of really illuminate the contrast between what is in darkness and then what is being lit up by these characters, the lights that these characters have made themselves, the artificial lights, and then how that changes depending on what the light source is. It feels like color is a really essential part of this premise and the way the story is told.
I can't wait for the eventual 2-page spread of light being brought back to this world, and then just everything is super colorful.
Yeah, that'll be really, really cool.
Yeah,
when the series gets to that point.
Yeah. In general, yeah, I think this, along with the next thing we're going to talk about in a little bit, I think has. I love a series where the world is interesting and you want to you don't know that much about it, but you're interested enough in it to want to know more about it. I think that's why I like series that's part of the reason why I loved Promised Neverland in the beginning, and that's a big reason why I even have any kind of interest in Attack on Titan, honestly. I still find those worlds really interesting despite how I feel about the characters, good or bad. But I think this series will be the same kind of thing for me. The whole time I was reading this, I was legitimately wondering, are they trapped underground? Is this an underground cave? Or maybe a big bonkers theory, maybe the sun actually did go out. I don't know. I don't know. There's so much I don't know about this world, and I want to know, and I want to find out about it. And again, that's a big reason why I think unless you have anything else you want to say about this, I think it's a big reason why I love this next series we're going to talk about here soon.
Yeah, I think that East into Night had a very strong first chapter that showed a lot of really cool potential for, exploring a very unique world. And I think that's definitely true of Vertical World too. It's a very unique premise and world that is really, really what makes me interested to follow it and see how it continues to be explored, even more so than the characters themselves.